host tonight, Learda Moulton, and my husband Clark, and I welcome you to our home. And this is another series that we are continuing with the body systems, which can help you understand how herbs work, how your body works, a little bit more about diseases, and really how to take charge of your own health by using alternative methods. And again, we are so privileged to have Al Garcia to do this presentation. Tonight we're going to be doing the nervous system. And we hope that you will gain a lot and ask questions and find the wonderful things that you can do to keep yourself healthy for preventative, and also if you have problems. Al has been so good to help and guide. And in the short time that I've known him, I've just seen miraculous things happen for people that have given up hope on a lot of their health problems. So we're excited. Al, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Learda. Well, as Learda said, this is a part of a series of herb classes that we're given, and we're taping them so that we can help people train other people quicker. And we're hoping to share a lot with you on the Nature Sunshine product lines, on the body systems in general, good books and information that's out there with regard to how to study and understand these body systems. And I'd like to just start off by finding out what kind of problems do people think we have with the nervous system. Who can think of some challenges that people in America, all over the world, are having with the nervous system right now? Sleepless, insomnia, that's a problem. What else are we having problems with? Depression, people get depressed, okay? Anxiety, that's correct. What else do you think? You know, right now we're just getting ready to, you hear all the talk going on in the politics of America. We're getting ready to go over there to Iran, and you're seeing all of the buildup happening today. You saw the stress that happened to this country after September 11th, and now you're starting to see what's going to happen as people start getting worried about tainted water and biological poisons. You're starting to see and hear in the news about people saving plastics and tape and all these things. It actually causes lots of stress to people to worry about things like that, and that surely affects the nervous system of people. So we're going to talk about how that does that. Did you know things like headaches, ADHD, a lot of those problems are all just because the nervous system's being bombarded? Well, we have some good news. I have an herb for that, okay? I've lined up a bunch of herbs up here in the front today because, you know, as we work with people in the health food store each and every day, we find out that we have quite an arsenal of nutrition to help people with the nervous system. And so we've got everything from stress packs to kava to feverfew to chamomile to silver to calcium to stress vitamins, B complex. We've got it all. And today we're going to kind of talk about some of those things and see how it works. But let's just address this nervous system for just a little bit. Let's just kind of do a little review of how our nervous system works. As you know, our central computer is basically our brain, and our brain is our brain and our spinal cord is the collection for all this nerve impulse coming throughout our body. Your spinal cord actually collects up all the electrical impulses from all the tiny nerves throughout your body. You've got these peripheral nerves that send electrical impulses. You've got organs all over your body that are sending signals to you. The brain has to process all this peripheral nervous energy and then decide who's got the priority. If you're doing without oxygen, for example, I guarantee you your lungs will get the priority. If you start having spasms and cramps and things like that, I guarantee you that you'll find out the brain knows very quickly who gets the priority. When people are in pain or inflamed, you know, there's a priority system that goes on in here. When you study this tiny little nerves that go on, you're going to find out the nucleus of every nerve. That is the brain of a nerve. There's special coatings. Your nerves work just like an electrical system in this house. Each of these lights in this home here have got electrical lines with a coating on them. We call those coatings myelin sheaths. They get damaged, by the way. If we sit here and take an electrical line and work it back and forth, we can eventually get to the point where we could damage the plastics and compromise the ability for that thing just to send impulse from point A to point B without shocking somebody along the way. Well, nerves have a capability of doing that. You've seen people twitch, right? And they just sit there and do that, and maybe that's a short. That could be a little short in the nervous system going on like that. Well, there's lots of challenges. I happen to jot down a few notes because part of what happens in this nervous system between all these dendrites and synapses and myelin sheaths and axioms, it's just so confusing that I thought, let's just break this down and make it real simple. Let's talk about, instead of using all these big words, just some of the big problems that, that happens in our times. Stress is number one. Stress is the number one thing that happens to people. You'd think it would be things like drugs or coffee or something else, but you realize, according to a couple of medical doctor studies, 80% of the problems that affect the nervous system come from stress. Any of you experienced stress before? Huh? What's that feel like to be stressed? What's that feel like? A tightness and anxious. Okay, who else has a different feeling when you get stressed out? What do you feel?
I associate headaches with stress.
Headaches with stress. Isn't that interesting that I find these little pamphlets that say cure your headache, and when you get in here and start studying these little pamphlets, you'll find out that there's actually things known as stress headaches, sinus headaches, hypertension headaches, stress headaches, and they tell you all about how stress causes contractions and problems in your head. You know, when I get stressed, I feel tired. When I'm doing too much, all of a sudden I just feel tired, and it's just kind of like my body just turns off. I tell my wife all the time, I know where my adrenal glands are, right above my kidneys in my back, and it seems like somebody just flips the switch and turns them off, and all of a sudden I have no adrenaline, and it drives me crazy because I want to do something else, and I'm just like, body's not going to do it anymore. So stress is one of the things. What stress does the most is cuts down on blood supply. It cuts down on blood flow. And so what happens, and that's kind of what causes these headaches, is you'll end up having a cut down of a blood flow to your head. There's a tendency to cause pain and anxiety when it does that. I don't know if you realize that, but that's based on nutritional deficiency. And I think I've shared with some of you in this room before what happens. And how about you want to come be my example here? What would happen? What would happen? I just want to show you what happens in terms of what would happen if I took my hands and put it over her mouth and her nose and held it real tight for as long as I could. What do you think her response is going to be? You think it's going to be sit there and be cooperative? Absolutely not. What happens to the human body when it's deficient, its first reaction when it's deficient is to fight, is to go hyperactive. Okay, now what happens if I'm stronger than her, I hold on long enough, 2 minutes has gone by, she's kicked, scratched, tried to bite, and I win, and now what do you think the body